And welcome back to the Integrated Media Center here on the campus of Geneva College. I'm Chris Matthews, the Sports Information Director here at the college, and today we're joined by a familiar face from the women's basketball team, junior Callie Ford. Appreciate you stopping by for a minute. Now this is a little bit of an audible here. We already had the student athlete for the female lined up, and then you went and scored your 1,000th point. So we felt like we needed to spotlight you a little bit. So this is more of a spotlight video, but it'll have the same general theme as our regular interviews. But obviously you had a pretty big week, not just at Thomas More scoring your 1,000th point, but you scored 24 and 11, I think, in the win over Teal last Wednesday. So congrats on that. That's pretty significant. I think you're the 13th female basketball player to pass 1,000 points at Geneva, and I think you're just the 6th to do it in your junior season. So again, good job. So I'm curious now, going down to Thomas More, you obviously knew you needed 17 points, in part because the sports information director, I think, was posting that everywhere on social media so the fans knew it. So when you were playing, did you keep track in your mind, or was somebody on the bench so that you knew kind of where you were?
I actually didn't keep track. My brother just recently tore his ACL, so he, watching him and how hard he works and everything he does, it really was a reminder to me to, not take any games for granted. So I wanted to go into that game just playing how I play and as hard as I can for my teammates. But I definitely had my dad counting in the front row. So I looked over, he gave me the signal. I knew I was getting close. I looked over and he told me I was 1 point away. So I knew after that when it was coming.
Nice. So I'm curious, when you go down to Thomas More, obviously, I think anybody who's followed the PAC conference for the last few years knows they're kind of at a different level than the rest of the teams. I went back and looked at their average margin of victory this year in conference play. I think they're 43 points a game. So you know that even if you play your best game of the season, it's going to be real difficult to beat them. So what's the mindset? What's Coach Wynn talk to you guys about doing and trying to accomplish when you go down and play them?
She really talks about playing to get better a lot. Obviously, we want to go into every game thinking we can win, but she really talks about playing as hard as we can, getting the most out of the game, playing together as a team. So when we play teams like Chatham, Teal, Westminster, we're more prepared to play how we should be playing. So just kind of use that game to better us for upcoming games.
You mentioned your dad earlier. He must have been in attendance down at Thomas More, understandably. I met him a couple of weeks ago. He's always there, mid-court, front row of the home games. Considering your brother plays on the men's basketball team, I'm assuming basketball was a significant part of your family life growing up. I'm curious what kind of impact he had on you growing up, and then secondly, what's he say to you after the games? Is he more kind of a coach giving you pointers, or is he more kind of the dad, just, hey, good job, trying to encourage you?
Both my parents were very involved at a very young age with me and my brother. They started us both at 5 years old and just worked with us every day. My mom actually coached me 6th and 7th grade. But my dad really had a huge impact on motivating us to work as hard as we can, basically teaching us that things aren't going to be given to us. If we want to reach our goals, if we want to be the best, you got to work for it. And definitely after games, I know he's proud of me, but it's definitely you could have done this, work on this. I could have the best game of my life in my mind. I walk off the court, there's still 10 things I could have done better. But, it only motivates me and my brother to work harder and be the best that we can be. Good.
Well, he's always noticeable sitting right down there up against the court at mid-court. So lastly, you're 3 weeks into the semester now. What's your semester look like? You've got how many hours, busy days, tough classes? What do you got going on?
They're pretty spread out. I have 17 hours. I think, the more semesters I go through, the easier it's getting just to get my work done and time management. So it's not too bad.
Good. Now, I always do the Final Four now to close things up. 4 quickies, just give me the first thing that pops into your head. So at Alex's, what's your favorite food station? What's the one that you always count on to be good?
Noodle Bar.
Noodle Bar. I've heard that one a couple of times before. Would you rather have an 8 a.m. class or a night class?
8 a.m.
Morning person. Good.
Yes,
now, Winter Olympics are starting this Friday. You play kind of a Summer Olympic sport, but will you be watching the Winter Olympics at all?
Yeah, I'll watch some of it, yeah.
And then it's snowy and cold outside. I'm curious, what's your favorite season of the year? Is it winter? I assume it's probably something different. But
my favorite season is fall. I was born in November, and the weather's nice in between.
Well, thank you again for joining us. Again, congrats on passing 1,000 points. That's a pretty significant accomplishment. Like I said, it's only the sixth time I think a women's basketball player has done that in her junior year. So you've got a chance to climb the ranks here over the next year, and a little more left in this season. So, well, that'll do it for this edition. I'm Chris Matthews. This is Callie Ford. Until next time, storm on.